Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be moving forward towards the 6 food organs. I like to really start with the liver and gallbladder. They, to me, are part of the same process, and they also interact with the pancreas. And my teacher used to say to me, the pancreas, though it's not strictly recognized in Chinese medicine, does speak to the gallbladder. We know that the gallbladder emulsifies fats. Generally, the bile is considered to have a bitter taste and can often be involved in loose stools. Gallbladder meridian, as we know, is on the outside of the leg, the liver meridian on the inside of the leg, and they both pass over bony and tendinous regions. It gives you an idea of how they can influence the body. We know that the gallbladder can be responsible in lateral headaches, especially on the side of the head. We know that there are other associations with the gallbladder and the liver in terms of the way that the gallbladder sits inside the liver and its job of storing bile, which is effectively broken down products from dead blood, basically. The stomach is an important organ. It's one of the most important organs from the Fu region. It's very responsible for the energy descending in the body. We know that the liver energy can ascend when it's upset and can actually invade the stomach. So you get this, what we call rebellious chi. If this continues, the liver can actually invade, create heat, and cause issues through anger and frustration with the stomach, and this can eventually lead to stomach ulcers. The small intestine, as we know, digests most of the food that we eat. It creates the ability for the transportation and transformation and absorption of minerals and vital components for our health. And we know that small intestine has different parts, and each parts are divided into segments which have different tasks for absorbing different kinds of minerals and vital vitamins, etc. The large intestine, as we know in the West, is basically digesting the fluids back out of the food and putting nutrients into the bloodstream. We know the large intestine, the transit rate is much slower than, say, other organs. From kind of a naturopathic perspective, for many years, coffee enemas were very popular, and they were favoured over colonics for many different health reasons. Personally, for Chinese, don't favour them too much because they're going in the opposite flow of the natural direction of food or waste products, but they have been proven in the past to be very useful in very, very extreme cases of illness. Coffee enemas, you can look into it yourself. I invite you to investigate that, but they create what we call a hepatic shunt, and the body will dump out a lot of toxins into the large intestine, and unfortunately it can be resolved back into the liver and then back out to the gallbladder. So the problem with it is that the bile can then start secreting further toxins back into the system, and this, obviously, as we know, can lead to problems such as gallstones. Fasting is a favoured art of healing in many cultures, especially Asian cultures, and it causes the fastest amount of liver repair. We know that the urinary bladder is a storage and excretion of urine, and we then have these hidden organs. The triple energizer, or the sanjiao, is really regulating the passage of fluid throughout the body from the upper to lower portions. We will investigate the Sanjian further. It's quite a complex structure and theory. My teacher used to say to me, if we're going to be using herbs, keep them very simple. You don't want the body to be confused. And we do know the truth about TCM is that some of these herbal formulas have become ridiculously long and complicated. So then the digestive system, if it's depleted, de-energized, then it struggles to process all this different information. Extra organs such as the brain and the uterus are mainly related to, well, the brain is related to the spinal marrow, and the uterus is more related to the kidney meridian in a way. Kidney and heart also being related, the heart can also govern the uterus from a conception point of view. The chi, blood and body fluids that circulate through these organs are vital for our overall vitality, and chi in itself constitutes a universal substance, a universal function, and it also can be manifested in movements and functions of our body. Chi in itself can manifest in many different forms. We have the Wei Chi, which is the defensive Chi. The Zhong Chi, which is the pectoral Chi, that's the Chi of actually breathing in and out. The Qing Chi, which is a refined Chi that comes out of the food. Food Chi being what we call Gu Chi, and I'm not talking about Gucci handbags. So the Gu Chi creates the Qing Chi, which is then mixed in the lungs, using the Zhong Chi to create Wei Chi. So it's a refinery. Think of an oil refinery, taking the crude oil, and we're ascending and refining the Chi always. Yin Chi is the Chi that goes through the vessels of the body, the blood vessels, and Zhong Chi is the stuff that we as acupuncturists and Tuina therapists would work. That's the Meridian Chi. And that Zhong Chi is produced in combination with our Food Chi and Yuan Chi, the primordial Chi, the Chi that sits in us from birth. When we breathe in using Qigong methods, we actually strengthen and protect the Yuan Chi. Our essence is the congenital Chi that's been given to us. And as I say, excessive lifestyle, excessive starvation, torture, horrendous events in our life can actually cause a loss of Jing. And you can't get it back. Too much childbirth, shock, physical, emotional issues, repeated surgery, even general anesthesia, blood transfusions, too many late nights, too many corticosteroids, they were all gonna damage the Jing. So, in Qigong, we gotta tonify the Yuan Qi, because the Yuan Qi will protect the Jing for as long as possible. And if you can keep your Yuan Qi circulating, like for those of you who've studied the Jade system with me, if you can keep that moving, then you won't need to rely on the Jing. Remember, in the past, diet wasn't such a big deal as it is now. Everyone ate pretty much from the land, and now we've artificially manufactured all kinds of horrendous things. It is actually quite frightening. I invite you to look at the work of Leon Hammer. There are some nice little interviews with him on YouTube. And he talks about how colleagues of his went away to invent food so people would never know what real food ever tasted like again. And he has, as a GP, has conducted many studies. Our aging is a constitutional factor, and it is related to our Jing. If you look at modern genome therapy, we have not yet discovered the factors that cause us to age. There's no gene in the human genome that is an aging gene. Nearly of a study of 1,500 other species, humans are the only ones we've come across that do not have this aging genome. So it has to be down to this cosmic energy. Pretty profound stuff for TCM, and again, the truth of it is, it's never really truly passed on so much, this kind of information. You really have to delve deep yourself to find out the hidden gems. So, invite you to look at Yuan Chi, Zhong Chi, Ying Chi, Wei Chi. Look at these different kinds of Chi and see how they interact, because they do interact with each other. One of my teachers used to say you have to preserve the function of the spleen and stomach at all times, because ultimately that's the source of our blood, our circulation. It moistens us. It gives us functional capacity in our organs, and the chi and blood move together. So for him, that was the simplest and most easiest way to get our health up and running very quickly. So I invite you to look at those concepts in depth. Well, we're going to look at maybe a little bit more to do with the meridians moving forward and the collaterals. So all the best. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening, guys.